Am I a burden? I actually asked that question directly to my parents. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tanatastic Talks. Today, I am talking about the question, are we burdens? I think we have all probably asked ourselves that question in one way or another, whether we have a chronic illness or a mental illness or something else is going on in our lives, whether it's situational or blah, blah, blah. And we feel like, oh no, like that feeling of, oh, I don't want to be a burden. Am I a burden? All this wonderful stuff. So today we're going to be talking about that. This is actually requested of me, and so if you have requests for questions that you'd like for me to answer, or if you'd like to know my perspective on it, then feel free to ask in the comments below or message me, and I will make a video about it. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe down there and give this video a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Helps me a lot. And you can look at other videos that I've made. So with the question, am I a burden, comes feelings like guilt. With guilt comes also fear of disappointment. Guilt is also related to and amplifies any anxiety that we have. Now, there are two types of guilt. There is the justified type of guilt, which is when we've done something wrong. So that's valid, right? And then there is something called baseless guilt, which is the second type of guilt, which is the guilt that we experience if we are asking ourselves these types of questions. Baseless guilt is usually derived from internal expectations that we are just not meeting. So the bar might be set here and we feel we're down here, and because we're not up there, well, we then beat ourselves up inside our minds. We worry about a lot of things. We feel like we're walking on eggshells around our families or friends. We isolate ourselves. We don't want to talk to anybody, or we carry this feeling with us that is not productive and it doesn't help us move forward. So then sometimes it ends up making us really stuck within ourselves because it's something that we're also creating and perpetuating inside of our minds and inside of just our beings. And it really changes the dynamic of a lot of our relationships if we're not careful. Like we want to be all that we can be to our families, and some of us have children. We want to be good parents. Some of us, have jobs that we love, and we want to be good to our jobs and to our coworkers, to the community that is our workplace. Some of us have, friend groups that are really closely knit, and maybe you guys take trips, and maybe now you're not able to do that because of the chronic condition that you have. So things change just because life happens. So with family and with children, now I don't know how old your children are, but if they're young, and even if they are in their teens, people adapt. Children, especially young children, they adapt. I've even seen posts on Facebook groups for the RHS group I'm a part of where the 2 or 3 year old wants to smile like mommy, and so they're gonna smile like that. They'll smile with one side of their face just because that's what they know. So it's nothing weird for them. It's just something that they have grown to understand and what they're used to. And so it's nothing to be ashamed of. They're not ashamed of you. So I think we don't need to be ashamed of ourselves if our family is showing us that they're not ashamed of us. And if they are ashamed of us, then that's another thing. So life goes on and people adapt. With spouses and immediate family, number one, they care. They're concerned, right? Number two is they will find it obviously difficult. And children will find it difficult too, but especially with spouses and immediate family, they're going to find it difficult to comprehend the condition that you have. They're going to maybe get frustrated sometimes. There is not going to be always understanding, but I think the important thing is that you continue to have conversations that help foster that understanding. If they need to research, then that they need to research, like they need to do that. If they need to have a talk with your doctor, or with your neurologist, or with your ENT specialist, let them have those conversations. Have them come to appointments with you if they can, or be on the phone or something so that they can understand from a healthcare professional what they should be expecting from you as well, right? We have our own expectations of ourselves. They have expectations of us as well, which we'll need to change and adapt. And it just takes time. Like, it really, really takes time. It's important to know too that I think the frustration that our family feels is we have to remember that it's not about us as a person, as a human being, but it is about the condition, the health condition, or the mental illness, or whatever it is that you are experiencing. One thing that I can leave you with or focus in on is that communication is key. Talk things out. Clarify. I have had to do this with people because I am someone who overanalyzes if things are not clarified at the get-go. I would rather not overanalyze things, not take it in, not let it fester, not let it sit within me, and then have to manage this feeling that maybe is not even accurate or based in actual reality. It's based in my reality up here, but not reality in real life, okay? Since I'm not interested in having that happen or exposing myself to emotions that I don't need to feel, which would then make my symptoms spiral out of control, I will protect myself, and I will also protect the person that I love by clarifying with them right away. I think with anyone who has a chronic illness, you have to just be very open and transparent with your partners, with your spouses, kids, and just talk things out as best you can so that the lines of communication are open, trust is there, understanding is there, and when there is not, give them a few days. Give them resources if you can. It's about like strengthening the relationship that is there, that exists, and building on that. So going back to the question of, am I a burden? I actually asked that question directly to my parents because at the beginning of being diagnosed with RHS and then with FND, because I was being driven to appointments pretty much every week, multiple times a week, it was a lot. And the new things that we had to experience as a family, I felt it was a lot, and I was worried. See the language? I was worried that they thought that I was a burden. I didn't want that to be the case because I knew they were sacrificing a lot. Again, internal expectation, right? So when I asked them outright, they said, no, you're not a burden. So what did I do? I chose to believe them because if I didn't, then I'd probably be feeling the same way today versus, a year ago or whatever, I decided to let that go. With this baseless guilt that we feel because of something that has happened to us, not something that we've done. We haven't chosen this for our lives. It just happened. It's not justified guilt. It's baseless guilt. If you need help dealing with and managing your own expectations about yourself, whether it's related to your family or work or friendships, then maybe you need to go talk to someone. That is totally okay. I was with a neuropsychologist for 8 months, I think. And so some of the topics that we talked about were like managing expectations. If you and your family are really not getting along, then maybe it would be helpful for them to maybe sit in on a session with you and your therapist. maybe that would provide them also a way for them to express how they feel, and then to get your perspective, and then to get the therapist's perspective. It's always good. I'm a big proponent of therapy. I believe it works. I believe that fit is important. So you and your counselor should have a good fit together so that things work smoothly. And if you are willing to do the work to help manage yourself, I think you will be all the more stronger and all the more empowered, really, within yourself to do the things that you want to do. If you need to talk to your supervisor at work, I know people are sometimes afraid of talking to people at work, but that's what I've had to do. I have thus had to change my portfolio. So, sometimes you need to have the hard conversations, the tough conversations, but in the end, you're helping yourself. You got to remember that you are helping yourself. And by not addressing feelings like baseless guilt or this kind of fear or anxiety of disappointing people, you will not move forward. And that's not what I want for you. That's not what I want for myself. So I hope that with this holiday season coming into effect, that you will also just keep that at the back of your mind, like managing expectations. Do I need to be worrying about this? Like, did I actually hurt someone? Are these realistic expectations I should be having for myself? All those types of things. I hope that you're able to take something out of this and apply it to the next number of weeks of holidays and parties and all of that stuff. That's all I have for today. I hope you have an awesome Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. And if you don't celebrate these things, then Happy Holidays. I hope you have some great time with your family and a great time catching up with friends. I will be praying for peace for all of you guys. Thank you again to all of my new subscribers. You guys are awesome. And I really hope, again, that we can continue building this community and that we can inspire each other and help each other and give tips to each other. It's not just about me giving information or advice. But again, if you have questions you'd like for me to answer, feel free to comment down below. And I'd love to answer them for you. All right. See you next week.